Welcome to Trident Astrology. I'm Janine Kane. Today, I'm going to be going over the November weekly forecast for the 1st through the 8th. Before I begin, for anyone who does not know, I index this forecast in the description below with timestamps for each day. So if it's your preference, the index allows you to watch and navigate sections in a day-to-day format. By indexing, you can navigate to the areas of your interest. Also, I have the forecast in written form, so if it's your preference to read the forecast, there's a link to that in the description below as well. Okay, let's get started, shall we? All right, so we begin the month with 6 planets in retrograde: Mercury, Mars, Chiron, Uranus, Neptune, and Eris. Now we have 3 planets this month going direct. That includes Mercury, Mars, and Neptune. We have Mercury going direct this week on November 3rd on Election Day. So it's very, very, very important. So we are pretty much out of retrograde season this year. There are no more planets going retrograde. The planets are going to be moving direct from here. Our next retrograde will be Mercury going retrograde on January 30th, 2021. Now we will end the month with 3 planets in retrograde: Chiron, Uranus, and Eris. So real quick, let's talk about the outer planet ingressions happening. Now the next important outer planet ingressions will be Jupiter and Saturn moving into Aquarius in December, and this is preparing us for the year ahead. This is connected to the Saturn-Uranus squares next year. So when outer planets shift into a new sign, we experience an endo-psychic shift on a collective level. So it creates this powerful shift in energy. So I really look forward to covering that in later weeks. This month, we have the Sun entering into Sagittarius on November 21st. We have Mercury entering into Scorpio on the 10th. We have Venus moving into Scorpio on the 21st. This week we have a quarter moon phase in Leo, moving away from the full moon that we had last week. Very intense Uranian-infused full moon. Very intense, very intense. This month we move into eclipse season. So on November 30th, we have a penumbral lunar eclipse full moon in Gemini. Now, the November and December are preparatory months for the upcoming year ahead. Here is a list of imperative dates of very intense portal energy events happening. We have the 2 eclipses occurring. We have Saturn and Jupiter entering to Aquarius, and we have on the solstice we have the great Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. This week we have Jupiter-Pluto conjunction. This is the 3rd and last of 3. And we have, on the 30th, we have the penumbral lunar eclipse full moon in Gemini, which is connected to the north and south nodes, which square Neptune. So we're having a powerful spiritual collective shift happening on that full moon lunar eclipse. Okay, moving on here. This week we have Mercury and Saturn squaring, going exact twice in 1 week. So on the 1st and the 6th, Mercury and Saturn square is going to be going exact. Now this forms a T-square that's very, very intense, and it follows us through to the end of the week. And this is very tied into the election event. We also have Mercury going direct on the presidential election on the 3rd. We have 2 quincunx energies requiring collective adjustment. Okay, that being said, let's move forward. Now, on Sunday, November 1st, we have Mercury and Saturn square at 26 degrees and 16 minutes going exact. Now this forms a T-square with Eris and Eris opposing Mercury and Libra, squaring the outer planets here of Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter in Capricorn. Now, the Mercury-Saturn square is going to be going exact again on the 6th. And again, this T-square is following us through all through the week. The Eris and Eris squaring here to the outer planets, Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto in Capricorn, is causing discord in group identity. So our collective purpose has been challenged by this Eris discordant energy. Eris is anarchy. She's strife and discord, and she's squaring these outer planets in Capricorn, affecting this our collective purpose. So basically, our ability to aim for a coherent goal that benefits both the individual and the group is being quite challenged by this T-square. We've experienced radical conflict and disagreement between groups, due in large part to the extreme polarity in viewpoints. And this is totally connected to this Eris and Aries opposing Mercury and Libra, squaring these outer planets. So the challenge of this T-square here is to reconcile our polarized thinking in order to ameliorate the social disunity. We're challenged to think critically. We're challenged to think unselfishly and think communally in the face of emotionally charged socio-political disagreements. A very, very challenging T-square indeed. Okay, moving on. Also on the same day, November 1st, we have Venus, and let me pull that up. We have Venus Chiron opposition going exact at roughly 5 degrees. Now, this Venus-Chiron opposition is also along the Aries-Libra axis of life here, which deals with the archetypal integration of self versus other, competition and hierarchy versus cooperation and holarchy, autonomous identity versus relational identity, fight or fight responses versus our capacity parasympathetically to calm our bodies down. So Venus is the psychological function of feeling. It's the feeling function, which deals with making value judgments. It deals with ethics. So it helps us determine what is good or bad, what is right or wrong. Now, Chiron is the psychological function of healing. So with these involved in an archetypal dynamic of opposition, we are challenged to not allow our wounding and emotional fight or flight reactions triggered in face of crisis to restrict our ability to make healthy, balanced value judgments. Very challenging indeed. Okay, moving forward now. So November 3rd. On Tuesday, November 3rd, we have Mercury going direct here. Let me get that back in order. We have Mercury going direct at 25 degrees and 54 minutes of Libra, the same day as the presidential election in the US. Now, the last time Mercury was changing directions during an election was in 2000. That year, we experienced the Florida's presidential recount, with many of the ballots having incomplete punched holes. The difference between this year and 20 years ago is that Mercury is moving direct rather than retrograde. So the issues in 2020 concern the Libra and Scorpio conveyance, which deals with our ability to cope with extreme stress and our ability to confront the unknown and possibly chaotic whilst maintaining critical and balanced perspective. So this is an intense conveyance between Libra and Scorpio, because we're dealing with both the emotional intensity and the unknowns associated with Scorpio. So this dynamic is going to continue from the 3rd through to the November 19th. As we traverse through the post-retrograde shadow, revisiting the Libra-Scorpio conveyance, roughly between 25 degrees of Libra through to 12 degrees of Scorpio. So it may happen that we see increased social tensions during this time frame. Okay. Later on Tuesday, November 3rd, Venus-Uranus quincunx here goes exact at 8 degrees and 33 minutes. Now, Uranus in Taurus is changing and evolving the current order and stability of the external world. With this energetic, the natural world and our bodies are needing to adapt to what appears to be extreme Uranian changes. Examples of this are new advances in wireless technologies, the digital transformation of artificial intelligence, and advances toward us becoming spacefaring civilization and becoming multiplanetary. So this fast-paced progression of Uranus and Taurus, quincunx Uranus here in Libra is advancing way faster than our balanced judgment can respond. So we are challenged here in this quincunx to adapt our value judgments and ethical evaluations with the technological changes happening now and into the future. All right, moving on to Saturday. Now on Saturday we have a yod to the sun, also known as a finger of God configuration. We have Sun in Scorpio, quincunx Mars in Eris, and the Sun quincunx North Node in Gemini, whilst North Node in Gemini is sextiling the Mars in Eris. This yod is connected to the upcoming new supermoon on November 14th with a variation of the Sun-Moon conjunction quincunx Eris and Eris. So with the North Node connection here to this yod, we are needing to make some major collective adjustments in perception. So the North Node and the South Node in the Gemini-Sagittarius axis of insight are being triggered here. So our collective growth depends on our capacity to perceive beyond our individual blind spots of perception and to let go of ideologues. So Mars in Aries wants control. It needs control. Sun in Scorpio, it is illuminating the unknown. And when we face the unknown, we lose a sense of control. With the North Node in Gemini, we are shown the way we can collectively grow. In this case, our collective growth depends on our capacity to see varying viewpoints. And we can see in our current state of affairs, this has been a very, very, very challenging phenomenon. I mean, it's been very challenging for us to see each other's viewpoints. We've been so polarized. So with this yod here, our desire to be in control over the outcome of our ideals is challenged. So by moving beyond our extreme ideologues to see varying viewpoints, facing our fear of the unknown and letting go of control. And this is what we do when we have the courage to see another person's point of view. We move from the known to the unknown. We become better equipped to view ourselves and others with more integrity because we're letting go of control when we look at somebody else's viewpoint. But this is a challenge here with this yod. But if we can do this, we can be better equipped to shape our collective future in a positive direction. All right, moving on to Sunday. Let's pull up that chart here. So on Sunday, November 8th, we have a quarter moon phase with the moon-sun square going exact at roughly 16 degrees. We are in a waning square here, so it's about preparation into new beginnings. So with the sun in Scorpio, square the moon in Leo, we are challenged to remember our childlike and creative nature despite the difficulties of facing many of the unknowns happening. So with the extreme polarity and opposition occurring sociopolitically, it is so easy to forget how joyous it can be to create, to play, to express our humanity. And that's very much associated here with the moon in Leo. So the act of creativity can find expression through suffering. So creative expression can be a wonderful way to cope with difficulty and to deal with difficult times. So this waning square here reminds us that in the darkness, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Things will pass. Everything is cyclic. All right, moving on to summary now. On Sunday, November 1st, we have Mercury-Saturn square going exact and will follow us through to the end of the week. This T-square brings radical conflict and disagreement between groups, due in large part to the extreme polarity in viewpoints. The challenge with this T-square is to reconcile our polarized thinking in order to ameliorate social disunity. Also on November 1st, we have Venus-Chiron opposition going exact. This archetypal dynamic of opposition challenges us to not allow our wounding or our emotional fight or flight reactions to restrict our ability to make healthy and balanced value judgments. On Tuesday, November 3rd, Mercury is going direct at roughly 25 degrees of Libra, the same day as the presidential election in the U.S. The issues that arise from this change concern the Libra-Scorpio conveyance, which deals with our ability to cope with extreme stress and our ability to confront the unknown whilst maintaining critical and balanced perspective. Later on Tuesday, November 3rd, we have Venus-Uranus quincunx going exact. We are challenged to adapt our value judgments and our ethical evaluations with the technological changes happening now and into the future. On Saturday, November 7th, we have the Sun-Mars quincunx going exact. This is forming a yod to the Sun involving the North Node and Mars. So our desire to be in control over the outcomes of our ideals is challenged. Finally, on Sunday, November 8th, the Moon-Sun square is going exact. This waning square reminds us that in the darkness, there is light at the end of the tunnel, that never far away is our inner spark of creative life force waiting for us to tap into it and to find joy, even in the dark times. All right, future highlights for the upcoming November weekly forecast. We have a doozy of a week next week. So on the 9th, we have Venus-Mars opposition and Sun-Neptune trine going exact. We have Mercury entering into Scorpio. This is part of the Libra-Scorpio conveyance that is moving from November 3rd through to November 19th. On the 11th, we have Venus-Neptune quincunx going exact. On the 12th, the 13th, and the 14th, these are huge, huge energy days. We have Jupiter-Pluto conjunction going exact. We have Mars going direct in Eris. And we have a powerful Platonic-infused new supermoon in Scorpio forming a yod to the Sun and Moon. Finally, on the 15th, we have Mercury-Chiron quincunx going exact, forming a yod to Chiron. All right, a lot of big shifting energy in preparation for 2021. Thank you so much for joining me for another Trident Astrology Weekly Forecast. I am sending you love and prayers to get through these turbulent times with grace. We will get through this together. We will get through this together. Everything does pass. This too shall pass. With that being said, blessings and love.